Hello, my name's Rosie Dowsing, and this is my latest showreel. It will give you a snippet of my reporting across ITV Central, Network News and ITVX. From court reporting and breaking news to original journalism, exclusive interviews, historical features, and of course, the all-important and finally, a varied mix of stories, just like our programmes.
Rosie Dowsing is at Birmingham Crown Court where the trial was heard. Rosie, what did Abka do?
Mohammed Abka doused both of his victims in petrol from a water bottle before setting them alight, and now he's been convicted of attempting to murder them. The trial heard how the murder of Cody Fisher was not a flash of temper, but a planned act of retribution. A story that started 2 days before Boxing Day, on Christmas Eve at a different club, this time Pop World in Solihull. Here, a chance encounter between Remy Gordon and Cody Fisher tragically sealed his fate.
And Rosie, it's certainly been a long wait for Cody's family for justice.
Yes, well, it has been 15 months since the lives of Cody Fisher's friends and family changed forever. And I've been here at Birmingham Crown Court for much of the 10-week trial, and it's been clear that emotion has been heavily involved since the start. A young man was murdered for reasons many people do not understand. Very early on in the trial, a juror had to pull out simply because of the upsetting nature of the evidence, and today the jury, when they gave their verdicts, they looked stricken with emotion.
Our reporter Rosie Dowsing is currently with them in Sarajevo.
And deep down, Nottingham will be your favourite stop on that tour, right?
Nottingham will always be our favourite stop. We feel like the children of the city, kind of.
Sarajevo and Nottingham, the two cities that Torvill and Dean most hold dear. Here they carved their victory, and at home they left a sporting legacy.
Yes, well, the last 2 days of engagements for Torvill and Dean in Sarajevo all culminate in tonight's Bolero moment. This is the Sarajevo Open. A competition is taking place at the moment, but in 15 minutes' time, Torvill and Dean will be making an appearance. Now, they won't be skating the full Bolero like they did, of course, in 1984, but we caught a glimpse of rehearsals earlier, and essentially they will be coming out and welcomed onto the ice with young skaters from the city. As a musical gift from George Cadbury in 1906, the Carillon Tower with 48 bells rings out proudly over Bourneville, which is the village that chocolate built. It's an impressive slice of Cadbury history that still attracts visitors from around the world. It's an incredible story. Two brothers dream of selling chocolate around the world. They created a community as part of that. It's something out of a storybook. Do you ever get tired of telling it, learning about it, recounting it?
I'm always probing and learning, and I love sharing it. I think one of the things that was so important is when they first moved the factory out here, they were ahead of their time.
Rosie Dowsing now on this tale of dance and destiny.
The promise I'm making to my mom and my family is I'll never let them down.
From the streets of Lagos to the most prestigious ballet school in the UK, a new Disney film tracks the extraordinary journey of a young dancer with big dreams.
There is a Disney film with your name coming out about you. How does that make you feel?
I never really expected that movie could be made about me and stuff.
Well, 2 days and a night of rain has certainly had a dramatic impact here in Worcester. As you can see, a wall has collapsed completely into the road, blocking it off from pedestrians and traffic. And structural engineers and emergency services have been here throughout the day to try and make it safe. As you can see, there's rather unsafe amounts of rubble that have fallen into this road just from the impact of heavy rain. Tonight's extraordinary council meeting saw promises and pledges, saw accusations and calls for resignations. It was a chance to lay out Birmingham's financial recovery plan after a black hole in its budget emerged of £760 million.
Rosie, the City Council there has also met to set its budget. What was said?
Well, today's full council meeting approved a budget of stabilisation and recovery. So that means Stoke-on-Trent City Council is another cash-strapped council, but it has narrowly avoided effectively declaring bankruptcy. Well, we've heard there the horror of what happened in the early hours of the 13th of June. And now police have released previously unseen footage showing how the attacks unfolded. CCTV captured the final moments of Barnaby, Grace and Ian's lives before they were killed in attacks described by a witness as merciless and brutal.
Ploughing through hours of CCTV footage, Nottinghamshire police have been able to piece together the chain of events that shocking day. Footage we can now show following the conclusion of Valdo Kalakani's court case. Screeching sounds permeating this prison's walls.
This is in HMP Loudon Grange down the segregation unit. This is what happens on a daily basis.
The concerned voice of an inmate claiming this is abuse. He uploaded this to TikTok using a smuggled mobile phone.
And battered him for nothing.
A staff member has told ITV Central this is an all too familiar soundtrack for those who live and work here.
Inmates are getting punched, getting kicked, very unnecessarily.
Does it feel safe in the prison for inmates and staff?
No. Some days there is a real worry that they'll lose a wing.
What would you say to people, viewers, who might think, lock them up, throw away the key, they may not have sympathy with those in prison because they have committed a crime? What would you say to them?
I understand that, but situations happen and people go to prison. In this country, there is not a death penalty. You don't go to prison to die.
Rosie, this is just an awful story and a highly unusual case.
Yes, an extremely horrific case, as we now know that Lucy Letby is the most prolific child killer since the Victorian ages in British history. It was 145 days of evidence, the trial lasting longer than the lives of Letby's victims. An all-new residential tower block here promises to smarten up an area of Broad Street that's largely plagued by graffiti, and it's a prime spot for new city centre inhabitants, with a tram route right on the doorstep.
It's well publicised that there's a huge shortage of good quality housing in Birmingham city centre, so
arguably there is need for more affordable homes, but you're saying not here on Broad Street.
we are in the prime core of the city centre, and so we're not going to be providing 100% affordable housing. I think we're at about 4%.
There are hundreds of tractors on display, including those with wheels as tall as me, although that's not too hard, to tiny model tractors loved by collectors and enthusiasts. They're also useful if you don't have space for the real thing.
Well, Rosie is still there. And Rosie, you're having a bit of a Mary Poppins moment there on a carousel. You don't look dizzy though, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm not dizzy yet, and as you saw in my report, they were just setting up for the Goose Fair. Well, now it's officially open. It's been open for about 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. And most people, when they think of autumn, think of leaves changing or cosy nights in or Halloween. But the people of Nottingham think of the Goose Fair. It's been coming here for centuries. And earlier I caught up with the first few visitors through the gates.